Hello.
Hello.
Hey. I just realized I don't know that I sent Becky the link, so I need to get that to her.
Okay.
How have you been?
All over again. I'm behind on various tasks I wanted to get ahead on, but still ahead in publishing blog posts because I've published into March still. So I'm
Nice.
prioritizing that over anything else right now because everything else can come back to that or is based off of that. So I'm prioritizing one thing at a time. So,
Yes. Becky just messaged me, can't find the Zoom link. Yep, I just realized that. Sent 1 minute ago. We must be on the same wavelength.
I'll be back when everything starts up.
Okay, perfect.
Get everything situated.
Come on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I, I never remember if mute up there means I am muted or I click it to mute.
I know. Well, I just had to do a Zoom update. And now it's being wonky about turning on video, unmuting, all that crazy stuff.
I just had a medical appointment at 11:30 online and they use Microsoft Teams and I've had like 3 different appointments now that just haven't worked.
Oh gosh.
So, well, she just called me and did it on the phone. So,
Yeah.
yeah, well, we'll see.
We're
So how have you been?
doing well.
Just get frustrated with this stuff sometimes,
Yes,
huh?
most assuredly.
I know. I worked in IT
Eh,
my whole career, so I try to do things to make it easier and I end up making it harder sometimes.
Yeah. And it's like when you don't know all the shortcuts, you have to step by step by step.
Yeah. Well, so I try shortcuts and I realize, oh, that setting is wrong. I need to go and change that setting, and then it breaks something else I was doing. So. Well, looks like we're getting here. Lisa's not, there she is. No, no, that's not.
Well,
I'm here. I'm
Oh.
just getting Becky in the room, so give me a second.
Oh. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone.
teacher's away.
Did
But
you
I
guys
can
all
still
have-
hear you.
Did you have to sign up again? I tried clicking the link and I had to sign up again.
Well,
Yeah.
I tried
I
the
think
link
it's a
that just
different
came
link.
out and that didn't work. So I went back to an old link and that worked.
Okay. Mine came up and basically wanted me to give my name and my email address again.
It did me too. It may be
Yeah,
because of our speaker.
That's just how it's set up.
Okay. It's fine. I get confused when these things happen. It's like, is it just me?
Yes, Karen, it's just you.
Do like my wife always does. Why is it doing this to me?
Right.
Yeah. Or when my husband says, I'll just fix this bit, and then 2 hours later, nothing works.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, he's another computer guy.
Oh, okay.
I hate
As
it when I
she
have to
shakes
ask
her-
him to
as
show
she
me
shakes her
something.
head. As she shakes her head like,
Yeah.
dadgummit. Quit messing.
Sometimes being a computer guy is a curse because like that's what I did my whole career. And
Mm,
I just get to the point where I try to make things better and I put in shortcuts and then that breaks something and then I set a setting and that breaks
that's it.
something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, that's always the way. Although it's good you're out of it now because it's yeah, it's not the job it was, especially with all these security issues.
Yeah.
Is the link dream.bloggingsuccesszone.com/Zoom? Is that right?
But the one we're in.
Yes.
I got on through the email link.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I think that's what
It
it
a
was. I know
different
it
one.
was
It's
Dream
got
Dot.
Yeah, dream something.
Yeah.
That. Yeah, that's right.
Weird.
And the one that came out like at
Becky's in.
11:55,
Good.
5 minutes before, it didn't work for me. I went back to an old link.
Okay.
Yay, Becky found us. Sorry, that's on me, Becky.
Okay, hi everyone.
Hey, so glad to have you here. And I was going to you had mentioned giving everyone access to your Q1 thing that you're doing for your freebie for the bundle. And I don't think I have that link yet, or if I did, it's in an email I need to unbury. So I don't know if you have that and they can grab that to download or not. Put you on the spot, I know. I love your background, Becky. So beachy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You guys, I am thrilled and honored to have Becky here. She is a printables queen and does amazing stuff with printables. And she is going to be such a great resource for you guys to hear about how to get started and grow your printable business and all the crazy that's going on in the world today and in Q1 in particular. So really excited to have her here.
Oh, hi everyone. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah. So
So what is everybody's number one struggle when it comes to selling printables or anything?
Market. Market size.
yeah, starting with email list is I think one of the biggest things. A lot of the people here are on the newer end of things within that kind of first year or so. And are looking for ways to get started into different ways of monetization, and printables is one that we haven't really talked a lot about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be difficult to market printables. Like what I found that helps market printables is to do it with a transformation. Like how is it gonna help your customers? Like, how is it going to change their lives? Like, you really got to think of that in your marketing and your messaging. Because if you just slap something in front of them and say, "Oh, this is pretty printable," like they're not going to buy it. You have to explain how they're going to use it. Maybe have some print out yourself and put in a binder and have some lifestyle images of yourself, like flipping through it, or have like a family member or friend flip through it and then take pictures of them and put that on your listing, or even in your Etsy, your Etsy images. You can have like 10 Etsy images. You might as well have some lifestyle pictures in there.
Sounds great. So, as you sort of walk a person through kind of getting started into printables, what are some of the things that you recommend?
I recommend finding your niche, like whatever your like your expertise is. Like if you're like my niche is the mom niche, and there's lots of sub niches for that. Like I talk about finance, saving money, making money, working from home to be with your kids, like lifestyle. I also do lifestyle topics now because like Pinterest is one of my #1 traffic drivers ever since I started doing lifestyle topics. And yeah, so just think of a niche that you can get into. And I'll also have this carry on to my Etsy store, or also put printables for moms. Like I do a lot of self-care. Like I have a self-care workbook that's my top selling printable on Etsy. And also in my
Nice.
Shopify store, like I have like financial spreadsheets. Like they're not really printables, but they're kind of the same vein of like digital products.
Yeah. That sounds great. And if you guys have questions, I mean, that's the beauty of having Becky live here is you can ask questions in the chat, so feel free. So just kind of walking through, I know you had wanted to talk about Q1 and just some of the changes, like what have you been seeing happening in the market lately, just with buyers and sellers and the economy and all of this stuff that it feels like a weird time to be selling things online a little bit.
Oh yes, you're so right, Lisa. There's been an economy shift. It's gotten even people are even more holding on to their wallets. So if you can create an offer with lots of value, because people are looking to spend their money on value during this time because they don't have as much money as they did in previous years. Because we have a couple wars going on. There's a lot of people are losing their jobs, and the economy is not in the best shape right now. And also there's an election. This is an election year. I'm not going to get into politics, but I'm sure you all know and have your own opinions and all that, So yeah, so you got to really think about the value that you're going to offer. So what I've been doing is I have like some offers with 5 bonuses. I put a lot of bonuses in my offers, and when I do affiliate marketing, I give bonuses. Like Kate knows, she's in my group, and she sees all the bonuses I'm giving, and that gets people to purchase because they see all this value that I'm personally giving. So they buy my stuff above other people's because of all the bonuses, and they're getting more value for their buck.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you feel that what people are asking for or wanting has shifted also, or is it kind of staying true? Like, has that aspect shifted?
Oh yes, like yeah, they're wanting. There's a lot like a finance niche is doing super good right because this time. Like January, February, weight loss niche doing very well. Like people are looking to lose weight. It's going to taper off because they're going to get into those Easter snacks. So you better hurry up and sell finance stuff while you can before everybody wants their Easter snacks. And then we got like it also like health and wellness is doing well around this time. People are looking to do better on their health as a New Year's resolution. And but by March, that's when people are leaving the gym, because they're like, oh, I guess I'm just giving up on this New Year's resolution, So then going into spring, like Easter stuff, because Easter is very early this year. It's on March 31st. So it's a
Yeah.
lot earlier than it hasn't been in previous years.
True. So if we kind of walk through the calendar year, can you kind of give those sort of perspectives going forward, even outside of Q1?
Oh, sure. Yeah. And Q2, there's like gardening is quite popular, anything spring related, and also like people are thinking about, back to school, because back to school time, it kind of leads into like Q3, and a lot of people are looking to back to school. And so that does well, like educational printables are selling very good. Like I have a very big teachers pay teacher store. I have about almost 50 products in my teachers pay teacher store now. And I may make about, like, I would say almost 1,000 a month for my teachers pay teachers. Like I really want to increase the sales on that and also
Nice.
publish Amazon books. Yeah, so I really, but I don't really make that much money on Amazon yet.
So when you think about like, okay, you mentioned, oh, I want to make more in this platform or whatnot. What makes the difference? Like what makes the impact? How do you put a little more emphasis, and what do you emphasize to get more conversions?
Well, again, it goes back to the transformation, in your sales copy. You should show a lot of pictures of your products. Like, remember, I was talking about lifestyle images. You really want to present your product as something that's usable. Because for 20 years, I was a user experience designer. So I know how to make things usable and, easy for people actually writing, because so a lot of people will block writing portions with images. Like, how is someone supposed to write? Or they'll use colors that are too bright or too bold for someone to write. And you got to remember, people are going to be using these products. So you got to think of it that way and maybe do some user testing, like give them to your friends or family or maybe your community and say, hey, here's a free printable. Can I have your feedback on it? Could you give me a testimonial? Like you could do that so you can actually test it before it goes to market. And that's what companies do before they bring their products to market. They'll thoroughly test them.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. What inspires you to create a particular product?
I'll just go look for like ideas. Like I'll go lately I've been going to YouTube for a lot of my ideas. I'll look in the comments to see what people are saying about people's
Mhm.
videos. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, you didn't add this in your video, or I have a suggestion that you should talk about, So the comments and YouTube videos on a particular product niche, like if you're looking for printables, maybe search videos on printables, like the different, a lot of people are making different printables on YouTube, and that way you can get some ideas on what you could use in your own printable, like if someone left something out or your own training.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds great. Do you have particular tools that you use when you create printables? Like obviously Canva.
Uh-huh. And then I used PowerPoint before when I was doing designing for companies. They wanted me to use InDesign to make things. So like I was using InDesign quite a bit, and then like I actually had to transfer my skills from InDesign over to PowerPoint. But PowerPoint also has lots of tables, the same as InDesign does. It's just like you got to think of it differently, but it does have the same capabilities as InDesign. But InDesign, of course, is much more powerful and more professional. But the only
Yeah.
problem, if you sell InDesign templates, it can be difficult to sell them. But there's this product called Affinity Publisher, and it's only $50 for a lifetime fee. And a couple of years back, it was very popular in my community. A lot of people were looking for Affinity templates, which are InDesign templates, because you can actually upload InDesign. But nowadays, there's been a shift where people are mostly looking for PowerPoint templates or Canva templates. If you're selling
Okay.
PLR, yeah.
Sure. Can you talk a little into PLR and what makes something eligible to be sold as PLR as opposed to just a template?
Well, PLR stands for private label rights, and it's commercial use content. It can be written content. You can use to make printables. There's also courses that are PLR that are done for you courses, just done for you content, and you can actually rebrand it as your own. You can change the colors and customize it and change the logo, put your own logo in there and everything. And I sell PLR printables at plrbeach.com. And they're like Canva templates, and I have PowerPoint templates, and you can customize them and change them to put your own branding on them. They're like white label.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And if someone wants to create templates that they want to sell, obviously they just create it in Canva and sell it and whatever. If they want to kind of dabble in, maybe I want to sell PLR, how is that different in terms of what you need to do and what responsibilities you have and how you do that? Is there any difference, or is it just, oh, I'm going to just call this PLR and give people access to the Canva or PowerPoint document as opposed to just giving them PDF access? Or is that the only difference, or is there like legal or other ramifications to consider?
Yes, you really got to think about your image use, because a lot of image places they do not want you to put their images in like templates. It can be extractable. So you really got to think of that. It's like sites like Creative Fabrica, Design Bundles, like they actually say in their licensing they don't want you to put them in an extractable template that someone could just open up and then take their image out and then save it and then use their image free of cost from your template. So you really got to think of that. And Canva also has its own licensing. Like it's pretty lax. You know, like I've actually looked through the Canva licensing. You can use their images for commercial use. You just can't use them as is. Like you can't just download all their images and then like sell them as is. You really got to change them.
Mhm.
So you got to think about the licensing if you're selling it for a PLR. And at first I was contacting Etsy sellers, you know, and asking them to make images for me. And I was also going to Upwork and hiring clip art artists to
Mhm.
make images that I have the rights to, so then I can pass on the rights of my images to my PLR customers.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Can you use just the general Canva images in a PLR thing? Because not the pro ones, because I know the pro ones, they're very picky about people being able to extract, but the general Canva ones?
Yes, you can you can, because it's in Canva already. So I always do a filter and do free only, because not everybody that buys your Canva template is going to have access to the pro. So when they go to save it as a PDF from your Canva templates, because you can actually give a
Right.
Canva template link, and then once they go and try to save as a PDF, it'll ask them to pay money.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What questions do you guys have? Becky is a wealth of information on this stuff, you guys. So
I'm in the chat. I'm looking at the chat. Okay, someone says they're leaving, and hopefully it wasn't because I wasn't any good.
no, he said early on, he said he needed
Okay.
to leave early. So he was just giving us warning that he was heading out. So no, but this is such great information. And so Kat says, what platforms do you use to host your printables? Ooh, that's a great question, Kat.
Oh yes, I use a variety of platforms actually. I use Shopify to host my personal use printables for my blog, because I sell personal use printables and spreadsheets on my blog, and also sell personal use courses. So they're all in my Shopify store. For my PLR, I use Amember. And Amember, you go to amember.com, it's like member with an A in front. And that's like $150 for a lifetime fee. Only they charge $50 a year for support and updates. And so you really got to make sure you do pay that $50 for their updates, because like it updates quite frequently, and you need the latest security updates, because every time they notice there's something unsecure about their site, they'll give everybody an update, you know, and they also they fix things that are going wrong and stuff and bugs. So you definitely want to pay for that $50 fee each year, like I do. And there's lots of other platforms. I use ThriveCart for my courses and membership. And you can also sell printables on ThriveCart. I know a lot of PLR sellers that use ThriveCart to sell their printables and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, Kat says I have ThriveCart. Yeah, and what have you noticed, just any significant differences in how people consume or buy or whatnot based on the different platforms? Like, is there one that stands out, like this is a must do, or you know, this aspect is kind of a pain, but I do it anyways because I've done it that way, you know, with the different platforms that you've used?
Well, the reason for my different platforms is when I was first starting out, I had a Shopify store and I sold personal use printables. But then I started getting a lot of emails in. They were asking, can I use these printables for commercial use? Can I resell them on my blog and make money? And at first I was really against the idea. So I said, I need to, maybe I should do this, because I'm getting so many people asking. And that's another market there. That's business to business. Like I was just in business to customer. And I think maybe I should go to business too and have another business. So then I opened up PLR Beach. And I noticed lots of PLR sellers were using Amember. And I actually talked to a coach that I hired, and she said, yeah, PLR sellers tend to want Amember because it's very easy for them to use. Like they already know that platform, like as an affiliate. And you know, you can only, you know, really sell PLR with affiliates. Like it's very difficult to sell it like on with ads. You know, you really got to do a lot of education, because a lot of people don't know PLR. They don't know how to search for it. They don't even know what it is. A lot of people don't know what it is. You know, so so you really got to use affiliates to have an existing PLR audience. So
Yeah.
Amember is the way to go if you're selling PLR. like at least, or ThriveCart. ThriveCart can also be used to sell PLR. A lot of people that sell PLR know ThriveCart to use as an affiliate platform.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Pat asks, can printables be designed to allow customers to fill out information on a computer, save it, and then either print it or save it where they want?
Yes, they're called fillable PDFs. You use Adobe Acrobat, and you can use that to make a fillable PDF. You would just draw, like you go to fill and sign, like when you go to that property, and then you would click and you would like make a box to fill it. And you can also, it also will detect, text, boxes itself, and then it will automatically create the fillable PDF. If you have tables in your printable, like it will do that,
Nice.
but then you got to go and click into each area. You gotta make it named a different name, because otherwise, when you go to type in one of the areas, it will type in all the areas. So you really got to make it have, at least the last time I used it, I could have changed it, but when I was using it, you have to name each blank differently, as different name.
Oh, interesting. Do you
Yeah.
know of any free, because I think that requires a paid version of Adobe PDF. Do you know of any free versions that let you do fillables?
Oh no, I'm sure if you do like a Google search and you search,
Okay.
fillable PDF free or something like that, some search term such as that, you might find something. But I just know and recommend Adobe Acrobat. I haven't
Yeah.
used anything else. Like I actually pay, like I recommend all business owners pay for their software. You just don't skate by with freebies your whole life, as a
Right.
business owner, because you really got to invest in software. I mean, you're a
Mhm.
business owner, for crying out loud,
Do
Yeah.
do your when think of printables, I think of just things they print out and just fill in.
Oh yeah, you do. You can also fill it
Basically,
out yourself. Yeah, and fill it and use a pen or a pencil.
okay.
But these are
Well,
digitally filled out printables. There, I thought that's what she meant, was
Yeah.
they
no,
are
it is.
digitally
It
filled out.
is, but I'm wanting to say because I like to handwrite myself.
Uh-huh.
And but some people want to type and do it online and then save it.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, is it wise to do it both ways or just one way, or does it matter?
Well, you could do it both ways. Only you need to put a line in the blank, because otherwise when you print it out, if there's no line or any detection of any place to write, people can get confused and then are frustrated, and they'll move on to buy something else, or give you a bad review on your Etsy store. But you want a place where people can both write, and also if you're also giving them the option to fill it out online with by using the writable area in Adobe Acrobat, you might want to do it that both ways. I've seen some people offer both fillable and printables in different listings. Like in one listing, they'll say, "Oh, this is a fillable PDF. You can save it and write in it on digitally." And there's other ones that printable. You should always specify that, in your listing about what it is, what it's used for.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Question is, I want to do coloring books for mental health, says Carrion. How would you market those?
Oh, great. I'm glad you asked that. Like, actually, sell a lot of commercial use coloring book pages on my PLR Beach site, and also sell coloring pages on Teachers Pay Teachers, for educational use, and teachers and stuff. And yeah, so you definitely could sell those, and you can like sell, like Etsy does very well with coloring pages. Like you could market them for mental health. You would specify that in your messaging, and also your keywords. You would just call it mental health printable coloring pages. Like use that search string in your in both your title of your listing and in your copy, and make sure you specify that it's for mental health. That way, someone searching for mental health coloring pages on Etsy, they'll find your listing.
Yeah, sounds great. And Etsy's gotten a little bit of a bad rap lately. I'm not sure what your experience with Etsy's been, but it's gotten a little bit of a bad rap, and I think some people are shying away from listing on Etsy for that reason. What is your opinion of Etsy?
Oh, it's very negative. I'll be honest. I hate Etsy. It's like it's an awful place. There's a lot of like negative people that will leave negative comments for no reason. Like my first store was actually a coloring pages store. I'm an artist. I design my own coloring pages and list them on Etsy. And I had this competitor leave a negative review overnight. And the next day, I didn't get any more sales for a couple weeks. And I contacted Etsy about it, and they did nothing because I know it was the competitor because I searched their name on Google, and it was the same, name as other names she's been using on other sites. So she was a vicious, competitor that wanted to drag down my business. And Etsy did nothing, and even I gave proof and screenshots of her on other sites with that same name, and they did nothing. So I had to close my store. It was called Coloring Beach. And so then I made a Shopify store and sold my coloring pages on there, and also some printable planners. I do still have coloring pages on my Shopify store that I designed myself, and so I just started using Shopify and using my blog as a traffic source to bring
Sure.
people to my store.
Sure. Do you have multiple blogs? And I believe that answer is yes. And how has that strategically worked for the different audiences that you have?
Well, I have I used to have a houseplant blog called Plants Abode, but I closed it because it just wasn't taking off the way I wanted, and I didn't have the time. And I was gonna sell like plant printables and how to care for your house plants and stuff like that. But it didn't work out. And I also opened like a pet blog called Pup Beach. Like I had like a pet blog, but then I made it into a Shopify store, and I still intend to sell like print on demand products for pets, like mugs and t-shirts in there. I just haven't got around to it. But my main blog is Mom Beach, and also PLR Beach is another blog. And then I have another blog called Coach Becky Beach. And on these different blogs, I post different contents, related to what I'm selling.
Yeah, yeah. And do you feel like the blog aspect of that really does help with your printable sales?
Oh, yes, it does tremendously because people are searching for a problem, and like that's content. There's like I usually put at least 2,000 words in my blog post, and when someone searches for that problem on Google, hopefully they'll find my blog, in the results, because a lot of my blog posts do be at the top results at least the first page, and they find that problem, and then in that blog post I sell my printables, or I have a way to get on my email list.
Sure.
And the printable further solves their problem because they're searching in my blog for their problems. That's the whole reason they're there, for themselves. Like, people aren't there for you, so you can't talk about yourself and waste people's time. Like, no one's going to care about you. They don't even know you. Why should they care about you? Because that's what I was doing at first when I was blogging. I was talking about myself. I was using it as a journal. Because remember Live Journal? I don't know if you're as old as me, but there was a site called Live Journal. You can go on there and talk about your feelings and how you're feeling all the time, and I was thinking a blog was like that. Yeah, Susie remembers Live Journal. I wonder if it's still
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, I'm not aware of it, but that's all right. But yeah, so the question I wanted to ask next was related to AI and how things have shifted for you with AI, and what you see for the future related to printables and AI.
Oh, yes, it's shifted tremendously. I used to make a lot of money selling coloring pages. Like, I would have a launch like a couple times a month on Warrior Plus, which is a platform kind of like Etsy, only it's more targeted to business owners, not personal use people. So I was launching on Warrior Plus these commercial use coloring pages, and I was paying a lot of money to artists. And I was making, like, one time I made $6,000 off a coloring page launch, and I was making all kinds of money. But then, AI happened with the Midjourney, and in particular, people could make their own coloring pages using Midjourney and AI art. So that really took a shift and just ruined my coloring business, because so now hardly anybody buys them. So I had to shift it to make it color by number, because Midjourney can't make color by number. So I got Done For You color by numbers, and that's the only ones I will pay for now, is color by number, and I'll list those on my store. And a lot of times I'll use the color by numbers as bonuses for other people's products, or I'll sell them on my store too. So I had to do that. I had to shift to color by number, and also dot to dot, tracing, because Midjourney can't make dot to dot or tracing yet. Like, once they do, I'm screwed. I'll have to come up with something else.
Right, right. Do you use AI in your printable creation?
Oh, yes, I do. I make printable workbooks. A lot of times I'll use them as bonuses. And now there's these things called GPTs on Chat GPT, and you could use those to make specialized products. And even Canva has its own GPT. And actually, on Friday tomorrow, I'm coming out with a new training called Printable Bot Workshop, where I show how you can use Canva GPT to make printables. They're customized.
Nice, awesome. Allison says, you mentioned earlier planners. Do you offer digital planners as well as printable? If you have, what's the interest in that type of a product?
Oh yes, I do these things called printable bundles. Like I'll have one at least like 1 or 2 a month. And in that bundle, you get a digital planner you can customize and resell. You get a printable planner you can customize and resell. And I'm also doing digital planners on my Etsy store. Like I'm in the process of listing a bunch of them that I've actually made for PLR, but I'm going to list them for personal use too. That way I get like a bang for what I paid, because I paid someone to make these for me, because I no longer make all my products myself. I actually hired someone full time to make products. And but I do a lot of products myself too. I just don't have the time to create all of them. So I do offer digital planners that you can customize and resell. And digital planners do a lot better on Etsy because they have a higher perceived value. And people use GoodNotes and OneNote. Like the ones I create are for GoodNotes because I'm a Mac girl. Like I don't really like PCs unless I'm gaming. I have a gaming PC upstairs that my husband built for me, but I prefer designing on a Mac because I was in college. We used Macs to design, so I got into the habit of wanting a Mac.
Yeah. Susie's agreeing. She says, same. She's a Mac.
Well, she games on her Mac. Yeah, I don't game on my Mac. I use it strictly for my business and design work.
Interesting.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Becky. You just mentioned Warrior Plus, and I've spoken to you before because I couldn't find my account, and I've just realized it's actually on Warrior Plus. So do you not sell through them anymore?
Oh, I haven't in a long time, ever since my coloring, my last coloring
Right.
launched it so poorly, I barely made what I paid for it. And
Hmm.
I didn't launch another coloring page pack because I was just using it to launch coloring packs.
Yeah.
I use ThriveCart to launch my courses because Warrior Plus takes a lot of fees. Yeah, they take fees from you, and yeah, so and also I don't really like that aspect of it.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I
it's
got
free.
some of your
Yeah.
packs. So
Yeah, it's free. Only they take fees from you in return. You know, there's always something bad about something, you know.
Yeah.
okay. So that explains why I couldn't get on your accounts when there's something else I wanted to order. I have to set up an account. Thank you.
Yeah, lately they've been taking down my packs because they say if there's no sales on them within like a set number of days, they're going to remove my listing. So they removed a lot of my coloring packs.
Yeah, it's always something. So if someone was brand new to printables, what would you suggest they start by creating?
Well, just they would have to find their niche first. Like what are they? What's their expertise? Like mine is like finance. I've always been really good with money. I'm an investor, a saver. Like I've quite a bit of money in savings for my family. Like I'm like really good with saving, and I always have been very good with money. Even though my father died with 50 cents in his bank account, like he was terrible at saving money. And yeah, so I've always been very, very good at saving money. So that's my niche. So I picked the niche that I was good at, and I started creating content about that niche, like blog posts and financial spreadsheets. Like I'm pretty good at making spreadsheets. And I'll make those or hire someone to make them if I don't have the time. And then I make financial printables like budgeting and like debt. And I make ebooks about debt and how to overcome debt, you know, and a lot of times I'll use PLR to help jumpstart my creation because it's done for you. And I just rebrand it, put my logo and maybe add some more pages if I don't like what's there or take some away. And like PLR is a great jumping, what am I saying? Like I guess, like Head Start or something, you know, or jumping point towards creating printables because it's done for you content. And I sell a lot of printables on my site, plrbeach.com, you know, and it's already done for you. All you gotta do is rebrand it and then save it as a PDF, and you can start selling it, you know, for personal use. But some people also sell MRR. Like one of my clients, Marcy Patterson, she sells MRR content, and you can actually sell that as PLR.
Right. Right. Yeah. Where do you feel like the
Wait.
oh
What's MRR? What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. It stands for
Ah.
master resale rights. And with
that-
master resale rights, you can resell it as PLR, which is private label rights, commercial use, or you can sell it as personal use. So that's That's selling stuff with PLR license that you can sell, pass on the rights to others.
Yeah. Yeah, so trying to think. What other questions you guys have? Tell us about the thing that you're doing tomorrow.
Oh, what do you mean?
You've got a training tomorrow, you said?
Oh yes, I'm selling a training called Printable Bot Workshop, where I show how you could use Canva GPT, because in Chat GPT, if you're not familiar with it, it's an AI writer. It's free. There's also a pro account. But with a pro account, you can make GPTs, which are little bots that are specialized in a task. And it's really easy to program them. And actually in the training, I'm also showing how you can make your own GPT bots as a bonus, how you can program your own GPT bots and sell them. You know, you just sell the links, or you can use them as a lead magnet, because now really popular lead magnets are giving out these GPT, you know, as links. You just put the link in a PDF and that's your lead magnet, and you can get people on your email list with it. It's really hot
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, and it's such a cutting edge thing that it's fascinating what AI stuff is evolving into. When someone uses AI like to create an image, like for a coloring book, what kinds of things do they need to kind of keep in mind? Is there anything legally that they need to do with an AI created coloring book versus if they've done it themselves?
Well, the only thing is with AI created content, there's a Creative Commons license with it. And that could cause some trouble, because what if somebody's in the same chat room as you, because Midjourney is on a Discord server. And if you're in the same chat room as somebody else and you do a prompt and they make an image, and somebody in that chat room happens to see the image, that's why I only open a private chat room with a bot, so nobody else can see or take my image that I make, for that reason. Because all you do is click on the Midjourney bot, and it opens up a chat room with just you and the Midjourney bot alone. But if you're in a chat room with everybody making their images, if you see somebody else's image or they see yours, and they go, "Oh, that's a pretty image. I'm going to take it and sell it." So then they'll take it. But that's why there's a Creative Commons license, and anybody can take the image and like use it as their own, even if you made it yourself with the Midjourney, because it's Creative Commons license. So that's why it's always good to edit the image, like go into Photoshop, or you can go to Photopea. That's a free Photoshop kind of app, or you can go into like different ones, just there's a lot out there, and you could just go and edit the image somehow. Even Canva will let you edit images. You can change the saturation, with the photo editing tools in Canva for free. And I'll just edit the image, make it more your own, but still like the root of it, it's Creative Commons license.
Okay. And if it's Creative Commons license, does that mean, like, what does that actually mean in terms of your liability or whatnot?
Well, it's in the public domain, so to speak. That might be a name people understand more. Public domain,
Mhm.
like everything in public domain can be used by everybody. No one can claim rights to it or copyright it. And the same goes for Creative Commons. That you can't copyright anything in Creative Commons. It's for everybody. It has a license of Creative Commons. I think MIT made Creative Commons, to begin with, and now everybody can use it. It's in that domain, and you can't copyright it or even or even patent it or anything, because it's for everybody's use. But if you customize the email, like say you made a logo, you can make logos with Midjourney. Like say you made a logo, but you're in a chat room with everybody else, and you didn't open up a private room with just you and the bot, or even somebody going through Midjourney that works there could even see your stuff. Like I'm sure there's people that could see what you're doing. And what if they say, "Oh, that's a really nice logo," even if you're alone in the bot with the bot in the room, they say, "Oh, that's a nice logo. I'm gonna use it for my for my sweatshirt business," and they go and take it and they just add a little bit, and that's their sweatshirt business logo. And you have the same logo for your business, only it's maybe a tad bit different, but still you can tell that they used your logo for their sweatshirt business. And then you can't really say that's my logo. You can't patent it or anything, because it was made with like a bot, and someone else have the same one. There's a lot of trouble that goes with that. So if you use any images, I recommend just customizing them, like making them look different. You just never know who's going to see it. Like maybe someone that works at Midjourney could take it, even if you're not in a room with everybody else.
Right, right. And I suppose, I mean, once you've got it and you're using it for your own stuff, someone could hypothetically say that they got it directly from Midjourney also if it's not customized.
Yeah, that's why every time I get an image, I'll customize it. I'll make it look different, or I'll at least increase the size. I have this resizer. It's a Photoshop filter called Blow Up 3, and you can resize images, and it uses fractals to resize it. You can even take a small image. It's really good for family heirloom photos that are really small, and it can make them bigger, so you can actually, use them in your house, as pictures. Like I've done that, blown up some images that were from my family. They're very tiny little snapshots, and I made them into big pictures with it.
So fascinating. So much you can do. Yeah, and would you say when you're creating a printable, is it better to do something that's sort of like a lot of people would like a generic planner, or is it better to be very specific, like a planner for moms who have this issue and this problem? Like which do you feel like is more worth your time?
Well, they said the riches are in the niches. Anyone heard that? So it's better to niche down, as tight as you can, because there's all these sub niches of people that are willing to pay like big bucks for their interest, like their hobby, especially cricket crafters. Like I'm a cricket crafter, so my niche is like I'm not in the cricket crafter niche, of course. I would like to be, but it's a lot of work. Like Jennifer Maker's in the cricket crafting niche, and she makes millions of dollars. I think last time I heard, she's making $5 million a year, doing cricket crafting tutorials and stuff. And she also sells printable ebooks in her store. So you got to think of like a really good niche. Like just think of your expertise. Take out a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen and write down everything you're good at that because use your writers, write what they know. And the same goes for creating printables. Like write what you know, like create what you know about. Like what are you expert in? Like what do you know? Maybe you majored in finance or something, or you're a teacher and you did that. You can make a teacher planner or a student planner, just something that you're good at just to start with. Then you can branch out into other niches eventually, but I would recommend starting with what you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's perfect advice for sure. Any other questions that anyone has? If you guys were to come up with an idea, Becky, do you mind if we workshop just a little bit?
Oh, certainly.
Okay, so if you guys were to just pull an idea out of thin air, or maybe it's something you've been thinking about, I would love to see you drop in the chat what you think you might like to create. And if you want feedback on that, feel free. Or if you don't want feedback, you can drop that note as well. Like, this is what I'm thinking about, but I'm not wanting feedback. That's totally fine too. Kat has a question. She said you use Teachers Pay Teachers a lot. Any advice for using that? Her niche is teaching German through play.
Oh, that's a wonderful. A lot of parents are trying to get their kids to learn different languages. German's super useful. Yeah, recommend, just making some, like you can even use AI, because as AI can actually, like talk in different languages too. You can, any language, you can just tell it to make like a workbook. And it's really good to make an automated workbook. It's kind of hard to explain. I actually got to do it, but it's hard to use words to actually explain how you can automate a workbook. Like Kate's seen me do workbooks before in Canva, and I use Canva and ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT to formulate the questions of the workbook, and then and Canva has a bulk creator that you can use if you have a pro account, and it can actually bulk create, your whole entire workbook through an Excel sheet, so it's really, I actually have a free YouTube video on this. Like I'll dig through it, later and post it in the chat if anyone's interested. Like you could make like a workbook, like for kids, for German, but you said through play. So is that more like a Montessori type learning?
Somewhat, it's more trying to balance, not just straight up like, here's a worksheet, go through the worksheet. It's trying to make it part of your daily life. And so I say play for little kids because that's how people think that's kids' life.
Oh, okay. I posted the video about the workbook in the chat. Yeah, so you could do like go into Midjourney, you can make like clip art of kids, and you could use that in your training materials. The Allison travel blog. You could go for a lower priced item.
So
Packing
Allison
list.
says travel blog
Oh.
packing list is a freebie lead magnet, planners and destination guides, but stuck at what to make for a lower price item. Is it a generic travel? Is it like worldwide or specific region or specific angle? Feel free to unmute if you want to.
Herman?
Pardon me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Oh,
can hear
yeah,
you.
yes.
My speech has a disability, so I will try the best that I can.
Oh, it's fine.
You're doing great. Yeah.
My husband and I are going to start this blog, and part of it will be about traveling with disabilities,
Okay.
and we want to aim it at Gen Xers who are about to retire
Mhm.
and want to do more travel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you want to take that, Becky, or do you want me to take a stab at it first?
Oh, yeah, you take a stab because you're more of a blogger.
So, yeah, so what I would say is focus on what the problems are that your people have. So, from the travel perspective and traveling with disabilities, what kinds of resources would be beneficial to them? Like, is it how to find locations that are accommodating to your specific needs, or is it how to pack things that make it easier to accommodate specific issues? And it might mean getting really specific, like, is it a mobility issue? Is it what is the kind of issue that you're dealing with? And creating things that go deep into those minutia issues, kind of that, like she says, riches are in the niches. Someone's going to pay more when they know this is exactly the problem that I need solved, as opposed to just generically talking about traveling with disabilities. That would be my kind of first take on that. Hand it over to you, Becky, if you have further comments.
Oh, yeah, totally agree. And well, I think a lower priced. You say you got a packing list as a freebie, so that's a lead magnet. So that's maybe a 1-page printable, and then the planner and destination guide. Would that'd be like the upsell when someone signs up to the list, they're redirected to the sales page with the planner and destination guide.
I
Yeah.
think for the planner would be a higher price item
Mm-hmm.
to purchase, this to purchase.
Okay.
I'm thinking in my head that I have the lead magnets as the freebies, a lower price item, and then some higher price items.
Maybe a travel bucket list, because that's pretty popular depending on the region that they're traveling in. Maybe a list of different destinations they might want to check out and put like a little checkbox by it that they checked off that destination to go to it. The next time they travel that place, they might want to check off more destinations if they didn't make it. Like that'd be a cool idea as like a page, maybe a couple pages for that kind of printable, depending on what I'm not sure what destination what country or whatever you're targeting, or you're targeting the whole world or what?
Yeah. Right now, I'm just very general. Like my husband and I just came back from Italy, and I rely on a feed tube to eat my nutrients. So I had to bring all my formula with me from Canada to Italy. So I want to talk about those kinds of challenges.
Yeah. 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 And so
Oh,
being really specific
yeah.
like that, definitely. Susie says TSA checklist too.
Yeah,
Could be
that would be
helpful.
very good. Yes.
Yeah, in the planner, you can also have a like a list of medications. If somebody where if you were to need help, you can show them a list of your medications, too, if you're traveling. Because I'm also disabled. I know how it is to have a disability, and I know all the challenges that go with it. But my disability is more of a mental illness that I suffer from. So I totally get where you're coming from. Like I also travel with a list of my medications just in case, because a lot of times I'll travel by myself. And what if something happens, like what am I gonna do, you know?
Right.
Right. That I've had to do my own investigation because everything has to be liquid, my medicine, my food. What can I bring on the plane and what am I allowed to bring on the plane? So I've had to figure that out all myself, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine suggests that providing links to resources so that people don't have to do all of the work themselves can be a paid product, because
Okay.
people are interested in making that path to figuring it out easier, even if it's just pointing to the right resources.
Oh, okay. That's
And Susie
perfect.
says, I agree, I'd definitely pay good money to not have to do the research.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that's something too, where you can start to talk through it in a blog post, but then, you know, when you want, when they get to the point where they want the specifics, then you direct them to the paid product.
Right.
Karen says, got a new account set up and you made a sale too. So there you go, Becky. Carrie bought
Awesome.
something from you. But yeah, I mean, and events like this are really great for kind of getting the word out for like growing your audience. How much do you rely on collaborations and bundles and summits and such to grow your list, Becky?
Oh yes, I'm always joining summits. That's how I met Lisa, because like she reached out to me about her summit. Or maybe I joined one of your summits and I saw you, because a lot of times if I join a summit that I like, I'll reach out to the host and I'll say, oh, if you have another summit, I would love to be a part of it. And I'll give like my bio and stuff. And I'm also on this this speaker site, so I just been given a link to my profile on this speaker site. You know, kind of saves time. You know, it's called Virtual Summit Speakers.com. It's like this lady named Jen runs it, and it's good to. I think I paid $300 to be listed on there.
Interesting.
Virtual, I think it's Virtual Summit Search, actually. Summit Search.
I'm sorry, what's the URL for that?
Oh, virtualsummitsearch.com, and then you pay $300, and then you get like a speaker profile. And I've gotten listed to lots of summits from that. Like I got a lot of people reaching out to me to be in their summit from that. Like a couple of times a month. Like it's not as much as it was. Like maybe just once a month now. But at first, when I first joined, I got like 3 in a month. You know, that I joined from it, because it's in a directory. So you got like a directory of summit speakers, and you put your niche down of what you want to talk about, and maybe you give them a video. And she also wants other summits you've been in, so you can have like testimonials on your page.
Nice, nice. Have you noticed a difference between conversions from being in a summit versus being in a bundle?
Oh yeah, like I've noticed more conversions from a summit. Like I grew a new email list, because when I wanted to start a coaching business, I made a whole new email list, a whole new site. And now I've grown it to 6,000 people in like less than 2 years. And that's mostly from being in summits. Like every time I join a summit, I give them that list. But if I'm in a bundle that has like a PLR product in it, I'll give them my PLR Beach list. Like I add them to that list, you know. So that list is about 8,000 people. And but it's targeted to people that want to purchase PLR only. But this other list is targeted to people that want to be coached, that want to, you know, they're more looking to create their own digital products, not necessarily buying PLR.
Sure, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I know you just did your first summit. Do you want to share kind of how that experience was for you?
Oh yeah, Lisa was a big part of that. Like I had never hosted my own summit before, but I always wanted to try it. And I had a lot of hiccups, you know, like I had it on Facebook. That's where you would get the videos. And I had a lot of people upset because they didn't like Facebook, because for whatever reason, maybe a political reason or a personal reason, but they just didn't like Facebook, and had a lot of backlash against that. So if I were to do it again, I was thinking I would host it on like a website, like a sales page, and have like a chat role, or another community. Like there's this one I found out about today called School, which is SKOOL. You can have your own like Facebook like group there, and there's no ads on it, or any
Nice.
anybody trying to get you over to theirs, you know, or any distractions.
Nice, great. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. No one's jumping at the offer to bounce your idea off of Becky for a printable idea?
Oh, Catherine says she's been in 3 bundles. Good. Yeah, it's always, there's like this Facebook group for finding bundles called Bundles of Bundles with Bree Boucher.
Mm,
You just search bundles of bundles, and there's all kinds of bundles for business owners, for business to customer, like all kinds of bundles in there. And it's a free
Catherine's
Facebook group. Yeah.
Catherine's making faces because she detests Facebook. She's one of those camp.
Oh, she hates it. Yeah, like, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to hate it, but you can always make a dummy account and not give them any information. Use an incognito browser to open it up and give a dummy email that you don't even care about.
True. True. Anyways, well, thank you so much for your time. This has been fantastic. I would love for you guys to pop in the chat any takeaways or aha moments or just your general appreciation for Becky being here. Let's give her our appreciation. Bundles of Bundles with Bree Boucher, I think was the Facebook group. Catherine.
Yeah, let me give a link.
I got it. I found it. Thank you.
Susie says, I appreciate all your info. I missed the first part, so I'll rewatch that. Becky dropped the link. Jody says, thank you, Becky. Yeah, this
There's
is
even
great.
summits in here too. I'll just see a summit, the first post that someone has a summit, they're looking for speakers.
Nice. Yeah. Sounds great. Well, this has been great. Karen says, thank you. Glad to be buying again. So
Now, let me pop the freebie in the chat right fast. Let me
sure.
and have,
Sure,
like,
that
a
would be
good
great.
coupon for it.
That should be
If you haven't
great.
been on Becky's page on the PLR beach one, she has some nice stuff. And I
Yeah.
have missed it because I had been buying and then all of a sudden I couldn't. So I'm glad that I've got that sorted out now.
Jen says, thank you, Becky. I've purchased PLR and courses from you. They are great. Susie says, I've subscribed to your newsletter. Love all the emails.
Now here's
Allison
the
says,
the
thanks for
freebie.
sharing. Awesome, thank you. Allison says, thanks for sharing your knowledge. Perfect.
Okay, well, thanks so much for having
Hang
me.
on
Let me
one
see.
second. I
Okay.
think Pioneering Products. I think you gave the link for. I think it's redirecting weird. Maybe I'm not. Q1 printables mastery. Okay. Oh, I must have opened a weird link. Okay, got it. Perfect. Sounds great.
Oh, yeah, it's working for me. Yeah, it's
Yep,
like a free coupon.
Yeah, thank you. No, that works great. That looks good. Thank you all for attending. We're gonna let Becky hop off and go about her day, and then we'll just kind of continue chatting the rest of you and do go a little bit deeper on some of this. But Becky, thank you so much. Everyone really appreciates you being here. I'm gonna unmute for a second so you guys can, or let you guys unmute for a second so you can all just say a quick thank you or whatnot if you'd like. So, but thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks, Becky.
So,
See you Wednesday.
sounds good. Thank you. So, we're gonna stay here, and just continue chatting. So,
Oh, you want me to
hopefully
leave?
yeah, you can leave. You can stay if you
Okay,
want to.
bye.
No problem at all. But I just don't want to be. I want to be respectful of your time. So,
Oh, okay.
So thank you. But yeah, so yeah, so I wanted to go a little bit deeper with you guys and just talk about like, okay, you've learned so much great stuff on printables. Where are you going to go from here? What's your next step? Because we can learn, but the learning isn't what's valuable, it's the doing, right? So there we go. The learning isn't what's valuable. It's the doing, it's the activity, it's the taking action. And so I would like for you guys to kind of give a little bit of thought to that and drop in the chat what you are thinking your next steps will be. And it is completely okay to say, I like this idea of printables, but it's not for me right now. Totally okay. That's completely an okay response because we don't have to act on everything we learn about. But if there was something that you want to take and do, I'd love for you to drop in the chat what those thoughts are, how that resonates for you, what you are thinking in that regard.
I missed the first part, but did she recommend a platform?
She talked about a couple of different platforms. She suggested a member as a, if you're selling PLR, it's a, I think she said 100 or 200 to start out and then $50 yearly. And the start out cost is like the lifetime cost, and then it's just the maintenance is the $50. She said she also uses Shopify when she's selling products to people, which Kate Korsmer, I just had a call with her today. She uses Shopify as well. Shopify is kind of nice for some respects because it does a few extra things that don't show up in most platforms. Like when you're on the checkout for Kate's, you'll be able to see that when you sign up for Kate's freebie associated with the bundle, or with the summit coming up. But it like different things pop up like, oh, you're interested in this, maybe you'll also like these other things. Like that doesn't happen like in a Thrive cart or in some of the other cart situations. So that was one thing. And then she also mentioned that she uses Thrive cart. So different things for different purposes. Jody says, eventually I want to do a cookbook and maybe a cooking journal. I'm putting printables on the back burner for a minute until I get blogging down. Absolutely. And then can work it back into the schedule. Makes a lot of sense, Jody. Susie says, I like the printable idea and I'm just trying to find some related to what I do. Absolutely. Pat's pondering things that would be helpful to my clients. Feel free to give ideas. Carrion says, I'm making a Valentine coloring book. I like that. Kat says, I have some already, just moving them to Thrive Cart and how I want all of that to work. So yeah, so lots of different things. Kate says, I'm already very involved with printables. Absolutely. And so everyone's going to kind of have their own unique perspectives on where they're headed. As you think about what the next steps are, I would encourage you to kind of set aside some time in the next little bit here to think about, okay, with what you're interested in doing, how that can relate. And so one of the things that I like to do when I'm brainstorming is just to go into either a note, like a brain dump kind of a thing, and or just brain dump into a chat tool and just say, these are the things I like, and this is the stuff I'm interested in, and this is whatever. And what kinds of needs do people have, that might be a printable worksheet or printable this or whatever, and just get ideas related to what might work. My villain notebook is my brain dump. Oh yes, villain notebook, nice. Villain notebook. So but yeah, so what do you guys think? Like what are your thoughts? Where would you like things to head conversationally as we kind of work through this?
I'm curious, Carrie, you're doing Valentine's Day. Are you thinking ahead to St. Patrick's Day and Easter?
Not yet. Hang on. I lost you.
I always try to aim for 90 days in advance.
Yeah. No, not yet. I mean, I've just kind of downloaded this, and I'll just knock something up and do it as a freebie in my group.
Yeah, which is
just
always a great way to start, is just by starting, like literally starting.
But I'm really pleased I resolved that, because I always get the emails and I'm like, But I don't have my account. I can't find. And I knew I'd bought stuff from her, but I could not find where it was from. So that's why,
Yeah.
because she left Warrior Plus.
Yeah, I don't love Warrior Plus because I feel like it always is like, let me just block out a half an hour of my life because it's going to give me 16 different offers I have to think about. And it's like, I'm not even interested in this stuff, but I suppose I better at least look at what the heck the darn thing is. And it's like, oh, just done.
I just go to whatever I've downloaded and download it. But there are also some where they're on there, but the person for whatever reason has left and now you can't download them anymore. So I usually try and download even though they keep them on there.
Yeah.
But
Good
yeah,
points
I'm really
there for sure.
I'm pleased that you had her and I was able to get that sorted out and answered.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't
Becky's a
take
good.
much to make me happy.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so as you kind of think about how monetization and printables in particular kind of fits in with your model, do you feel like it's something that could be a viable option for you moving forward, if not immediately, you know, in the next, say, year to 2 years from now? Like, do you see this as something that's a good fit for your niche and your lifestyle and your ideas and that sort of thing? Susie says yes. I'm seeing head nods from others. Kat says maybe not PLR, but 100% for her niche. Yeah. Jen says I'm hoping to grow mine. Susie says I have pages of printable ideas. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Not all mine. I help people, so I'll have like cocktails and somebody will ask about pets and I'll be like, recipe book. I'm like, so I have pages. If you need an idea, let me know. I probably have the niche written down.
Right? Yes, yes. So yeah. So and part of kind of going through ideas and figuring things out is kind of bouncing ideas off of other people. So if you have something that, gosh, I'm thinking I'd like to, and I know some of you have mentioned your ideas, are you open to kind of talking through a little bit like, oh, I actually am, I know Jody, you said like you're not ready right now for your cookbook idea thing. But are you guys at a point where, like maybe Kat, you've got a printable that you've been kind of like mulling over and would this work or would this not? I want to open the floor, like go ahead and unmute and ask your question or give your, like, this is what I'm thinking. Or Allison, if you're like, want to talk a little bit further about your travel idea or whatever, feel free to unmute or chat or whatever is comfortable for you.
I just released a set of gratitude and positivity affirmation cards for kids, and I'm thinking about making a journal of some sort also on positivity, because there's so many negative things, and I think kids need to have uplifting stuff. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's great. What platform is that, or what blog, or how are you positioning that? Is it just on its own Etsy kind of thing, or is it related to a blog, or?
For the workbook?
Yeah.
I'd be putting that if for PLR on. I use a member for all my PLR.
Oh, okay. So do you have like an A member business, PLR business?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I have too many things. I have a member for PLR and I have 4, and it's going to be 5 soon Etsy stores. I have a Shopify. Yeah, it's just like, and KDP. It's like
Yeah.
I'm always like running, but it's rewarding, because most of the things I've gotten involved with are relatively run by themselves, and money shows up in the bank, so it's good.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So Kat says, I'd love to work with figuring out a language learning planner if we have a chance. And Susie says, after the move. Completely. But yeah. Yeah, so the as you kind of think through things, it's always good to kind of like, okay, I kind of feel like this is a good idea, but it's always nice to nice to get affirmation of that. I know Jen, you created some really, really great looking things in Canva. And I don't know that you've done as much on the printable aspect as much as like guides and books. So, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, so it's fine. But anyways, I know that, you know, when you've already started doing a little bit in Canva, it kind of opens up a whole new world, like, oh, I could do this, or I could do that, or, you know, that kind of thing. And part of it is picking, like, you got maybe 15 ideas, and then like Susie says, I've got a whole notebook of ideas. Like, what do you guys think about like the narrowing down process? How does that work for you? Do you struggle with that? Like, how do you know what thing to create?
I do struggle with that because there's just so many things. And I also struggle with, you know, the whole perfectionism, and yeah, there's just so much to everything involved with business that, you
Yeah.
know, taking the time, and then like you can so easily get down rabbit holes of this type of thing. Yeah, because that's one of the things I had. It's like, oh, I've dabbled with the fillable printables that she talked about before. You know, I've done planners, I've done printables, I've made digital. I have digital planners, and I made digital advent calendar and
Mhm.
stuff like so. You know, everything out there is an interest, and yeah, it's kind of like, but
Mhm.
what thing do I focus on, you know,
Yes.
at this time? It's like, okay, but if I'm doing this, then I'm not doing these four other things that I also
Right,
need to be
right.
doing. It's like, how am I going to get that blog post out this week if I'm making this, you know, this digital planner or this workbook or something, you know? So I'm not fast enough at this point
Yeah.
to
Oh, I
to
hear you,
make
sister.
good choices with that.
I cannot tell you the time. Like, I know I at least turned my video off because I had to make a video and my hands were everywhere and I was probably distracting. And my husband will call with a 911 in the middle of this move on top of everything I have to do outside of the move. I hear you. I hear you with time. I hear you. I just had to say, I understand.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
If it makes,
and you, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if it makes you feel better, Jennifer, what I did last year was I took a gap and just disappeared off the radar of everything for like a month and built up a whole bunch of content ahead of time. So my blog posts are now, I'm now published into March ahead of time, just the
Oh,
blog
yay.
posts. So if that makes you feel better, I did that. I disappeared for a bit and restarted January 1st so I can be ahead.
Nice, nice, nice,
Yeah, I've
nice.
been thinking of like, yeah, it's like, you know, you almost have to just put yourself away, focus on one thing and just do a bunch of that, whatever, and kind of
Mhm.
have to let other things slide. But it's hard because it's like, okay, well, what's okay to let slide, and what's going to be very detrimental to let slide? Because I'm very much more I would like to play around with all of these printable ideas, and I'm a learner. I love to learn new things. So how do you make these? And, you know, oh, this looks really interesting and fun. I'd like to do this and that. And but I'm not, I don't know my business well enough yet. And I don't know, my customers well enough yet to know you know, what can I, postpone? What can I hold off, to know which, to fit in more of those things. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that's where
And
I'm at.
yeah, you bring up a good point in terms of like as you're doing this more, you'll find that number one, things go a little bit faster. Part of that is literally knowing a little more clearly what your people want. Literally knowing like as you get more experience with what who your person is, what their needs are, what their issues are, that's going to help you. And so even if you guys have a short list of people right now for your email list, I would encourage you to consider doing an opportunity or an offer to them to do a 30-minute or even 10-minute or 5-minute quick call where you can chat one-on-one with them, or have them do a survey, if that feels less intimidating to you. What that is going to do, and I know we talk about how to find the languaging your people have. And you can do that by looking at like Facebook groups and what do they talk about their needs are. You can do that by looking at Amazon book reviews and what the comments people say their issues are, or their headaches are, or their problems are. But one of the best ways to do it is just get the people who are on your email list incentivized to meet with you. Maybe you give them a free something that you charge for as a low cost product that you don't have to do any extra work. You're just literally giving them something you've already created. Maybe it's for a bundle or whatever, but it's not generally available. Maybe you give that to them in exchange for 10 minutes of their time where you can kind of pick their brain on what their needs are, what their problems are. You can also just in your regular email, if you're sending regular emails, say, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what your biggest problems are. Let me know, hit reply. And then I'll, use that to hopefully be able to create some interesting information for future blog posts to help you with that issue. And that can be a very motivational for people as well. Like, oh, okay, you hear me. You're going to respond to my needs. So those can be, excuse me, those can be really good ways to get to know your people. And it's just kind of what you're comfortable with, what you're interested in doing. But definitely hands down, like the more you know what your people need, the easier it is to meet their needs. And it sounds kind of like maybe cliche, but when you know, like, oh, well, they just want this. Okay, then I can double down and dial into that. So yeah, so think kind of through what you can do with the constraints and the interest and the time and the, ability that you have to get to know your people better, whether it's doing research, whether it's doing contacting them, whether it's doing communicating one-on-one with them, whether it's a survey, whether it's whatever. It's going to look different for everyone. Kind of going to just depend on what your angle is, what your thoughts are, what your ideas are. So thoughts on that, Jen?
Scary, but
Yeah, it is scary. And I totally hear you on that. Yeah. The plus side of it though is that I have yet to hear someone say, if they sign up to chat with me, I've yet to have someone say, I can't believe you wasted my time, or I can't believe this, or you know what I mean? Like usually people actually really appreciate the opportunity to connect. And when you're not 100% sure of like how that might look or what that might shape up like, it can be really scary. And maybe the starting point for that is just to do it by, do a quick email, at the bottom of your email. What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? Let me be helpful to you. The next step up, that's a little less scary or a little bit more stepping out there, is to do a quick survey and ask, maybe 5 or 6 questions, maybe 2 or 3 of them are open-ended. And the other ones are just like, do you have kids in your home, or do you have kids in this bracket? So you are asking easy questions for them to answer that relate to your niche and just are kind of qualifying, like, are you actually my person, or are you you're not really my person and you just like my stuff? Like that's totally fine too, but it helps you to kind of be able to know that. And then obviously, the next step up would be actually having a conversation in one way, shape, or form. So definitely, I mean, those are just the first 3 options that come to mind. There's probably lots of nuanced variations from that. So Allison says, my daughter has an online crystal store and I think she should offer some PLR items for her shop and could use some ideas for that. We're having a hard time pinpointing their needs other than wanting more crystals. So tell me what crystals you mean, like what kind of solution is she solving for people? Susie says she could do a printable for what the various crystals are for.
Well, she just basically sells crystals, and people who want crystals, the biggest problem is that they they always want more. That's why we're having a hard time that when you have a mom who is a single mom and is raising his and Britain, you can find her pinpoints easily. But when you're looking at someone who just wants to buy more crystals, it's hard to find
What do
that
they use?
pinpoint.
I guess I'm not familiar enough with crystals. What do they even use crystals
I am.
for?
I can help her with this because my room is
Okay.
full of crystals. I have a rose quartz that's like this big, and it broke because it was like this big,
Oh.
and then it broke and it moved. But that's okay because now I put them on each corner of a wall. So, and then I have crystals that go in my purse, and then I have every day. So I think when you had said, I really strongly suggest Crystal 101 would definitely benefit her,
Okay.
because a lot of people who are buying crystals and coming into crystals don't realize that certain crystals do certain things, and you can put some together and they're good, or you put some together and they're not so good, and they don't know the meaning. They're like, oh, I want rose quartz. I know what rose quartz is for. I know what selenite is for because I've done the research. So if she's not able to get in that foot traffic, or for safety reasons doesn't want to give her physical address out, then that's a perfect way she could start with. And I wanted to add, that I had the research I've been doing. Quizzes are still a very big thing to get people on your email list. Quizzes on what crystal is right for you would good, and email her and help build her list. And then she could have like a basic crystal 101 of the top 5 crystals you might need around your house for whatever reason. I mean, that is huge. She could go so many different ways with that. And depending on what else she does, if she's into the tarot and she's into the other stuff, then she could also bring in that. And there is just the crystal is just such a big thing depending on what her concentration is. If she is just like a dealer and you can buy in bulk, then that's where I would start. But yeah, tourmaline. See, crystals are very, very. My husband didn't believe in them, but now he likes to go to the crystal shop with me. He's like, "Oh, that one looks pretty. What does that do?" And he totally wouldn't admit it, but he likes it. And I like. Sometimes I'll stuff them in my bra and a little silk patch in my bra if I don't have enough room if I'm going out. I have them everywhere. I have bracelets. I don't have mine now because they're home, but I have bracelets, so she can totally go with what to do with them, how to tumble them if she gets them raw, where to mine them, like the geodes, and there's just so many places that she could go with the crystals, and I love them.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think that you should be a host for people who want to find a niche for PLR. I'm serious.
Nice.
It's because somebody told me today that I was smart, that I was very smart, and I know so much about everything. And I was like, I don't know everything. I know a little just to get me into trouble, because I love knowledge. I love to learn on my own terms. I hated high school, but I loved college, which is why I have been to 6 different colleges in my entire life, international and within the country. So I love to learn, but in my way, I found crystals. So yeah, if you ever need any help, just find me on Facebook, send me a request, or if you're in the Future Blogging group, just at me and Jen, tell me that you're sending me a message, because otherwise my phone goes off all the time. So I wouldn't know it was anybody unless you tell me.
Yeah, ADHD brain. We love knowledge. But yeah, I forget stuff all the time. I love having my crystals, but I did find an app, I can't remember what it is, and I don't look at it all the time, that will tell you what your crystals, stand for. So I have to remind myself. So you don't want to carry the wrong one at the wrong time. So yeah, I mean,
Yep.
things like that would be so helpful. And like, I never even thought about ones that you don't want to put together. I mean, information like that would be quite helpful.
I have a set of crystals that I only use, that I keep in the car when we're traveling, because my husband and I have traveled back and forth across the United States several times. And I have just a little pouch, and telling people what to keep them in, like a silk pouch, or what materials and the energy and how to charge them. That's all information she could be selling to people after she brings them in by giving them Crystal 101. She could be saying, hey, how do you charge something? Take my course on how to charge your crystals and all that stuff. That's I'm very passionate. I'm passionate about a lot of things, but it's one of my
And
hidden passions that I keep to myself.
I love all of this excited energy and conversation related to this. And I want you guys all to think about, okay, if I take out the word crystal and insert my niche, what is the things that I can get excited about in my niche? Because I can guarantee there are things that your people have needs for in your niche. And you just need to think about what their pain points are, what types of things they would like as a back pocket kind of solution. I know, Kat, you did a back pocket German guide for travelers. You know, what are the things that are helpful? You know, whether it be idea cards for what to say when you're at family dinner with, you know, your teenagers, or what to, you know, there could be any number of things that are just easy-ish. And you might think that, gosh, nobody would pay for that. That's so basic, but it's a resource that you know well and that they wouldn't maybe even have thought about. Conversation cards. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
That's
so,
definitely a good idea for you, Jen.
mhm,
Young
mhm.
adults, are your young adults into all those card games? The type of what is the humanity thing? I don't know. My millennial friends are into the card games. I don't know. There's so many different card games. My old brain cannot handle all new information when it comes to that. But like the card games, not the Yu-Gi-Oh, but there's like what is that humanity game that was popular a few years ago? Cards Against Humanity, those
Yep.
type of games. Are they
Yeah,
into,
my husband has
those?
that, but she
Yep.
doesn't
They're
know.
sick.
They are,
She
but
doesn't.
but that offshoot a ton of other games, and
Yeah.
but there are also like games people play because the tabletop games are coming back,
Yeah.
and that's very popular among
Yeah,
her
that's why I
kids.
did a whole thing on
Yep.
board games to play with your
Yes.
kids on while they're home on break and stuff like that. And that's why I
Yep.
did that. But
But
my
those would be good for
personal kids
you.
are not, yeah, my kids are not, they like games, but there's too attached to their electronics to leave it for far. So I have one that plays D&D through Discord with her group, and or other games like Ace Attorney, you know, that come, you know, from other countries, and you know, much more of the online stuff as opposed to the, you know, what we grew up with, you know, with the boards and the pieces and stuff like that. We have quite a few, and that we've played and try to get them to do, but as they get older, it is harder.
So I'm totally into Euro games. That whole Euro game. I have like a bookcase that's filled with them. And when my daughter was younger, we would play simpler games with her. And we would play the complex games like Puerto Rico and Aeroplane and all of those, because they require more strategy. And as she got older, and she would see us playing those games, and as she got older, she wanted to start playing those games too. So yes, she's attached to her electronics, but she understood the social aspect of us all sitting around the dining room table and playing games. So that was my experience of a
She could
child.
do that. Her personally could do that with us, but she does have social anxiety, so she is very you know, about just going and playing a game like that at a you know, with random people would not be something that she would comfortable with doing, but definitely. And that's how
I'm not talking about Dragon Con. I'm not talking about the basement down at Dragon Con where you just play games with random people. I'm talking about like friends and family.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
But Jen, something like social anxiety, like a tip card or something like that, like, you know, strategies for coping with, you know, whatever, or strategies getting your teenager to drop their electronics for a few hours, you know, giving them like, you know, a game, like
I could use one of those.
right. So stuff that you think would benefit you would probably also be stuff your people would benefit from.
Yeah. I do know that one of the things that I haven't talked about yet on the blog, but it is something that I am going to be bringing up, is some sort of a journal, or I did a workbook before, which was on discussions to have with your college bound kids. So before they go to college, like the summer before, kind of important things to talk about so that you're on the same page when they start college in the fall, like about housing, like where they're going to live, like how often are you going to have communication with them? Are they expecting, is the parent expecting a once a week phone call, or, are they going to be coming home on the weekends? Are they going to be coming home but just doing laundry and then gone the whole time? What is the kids expecting for money? Are they going to be getting an allowance or something from them when they're at college for extra things, or what transportation? Like, so all of that stuff. I did one of those, but one of the things I haven't started working on yet, but one of the things I am going to be working on is something to do with for kids who take a gap year after high school before starting college. Because I have a child that did that, and I think especially after COVID, I really I almost think almost every child should have taken a gap year after they graduated high school during those COVID years, because it was just torture, going through high school, graduating high school during COVID, which my younger one did. And so taking that gap year, she had to work. She discovered that before the year was up, she thought maybe she would be taking more than, like one school year off. She decided, within 6-8 months that, yeah, I think I'm ready to try going to college now, because the work thing isn't really what, it's cracked up to be.
Right?
And everything that's involved there. So yeah, I think I want to learn more so I can do a job other than like Walmart or things like that. But I'm, there's lots of opportunities for kids to do things by taking a gap year and just having them know, like, no idea. I mean, like I changed my major. I don't, most people I think change their minds at some point if they go to college as what they're actually going to be doing and stuff. So, I mean, the idea that at 18 years old, 17 years old, they know what they want to do for the rest of their lives, I think is kind of ridiculous. So, yeah. So that's going to be one of my next things, because I do kind of have a personal connection to that. And you don't really see much of that out there, but I think right now is a good time to talk about it, because all the kids that are graduating high school now have had to experience COVID somewhere in their schooling and having it affect their education. Whether they graduated, 2 years ago or are graduating this year, they've still had to deal with it, messing with their lives, their social lives, their education and everything else. So yeah. So that's something.
Absolutely.
Well, like Kat said, also not going to college. There are some kids that college isn't for them.
Yeah, my daughter's starting at a community college, and so she's doing it. It's a smaller college. She's starting slow, and then is going to move on to a regular university after that. But yeah, no, my older daughter started college, and it wasn't for her. Then she went right to working, and she's been full time for quite a few years now with benefits and everything. So yeah. But when I grew up, when I graduated, we were tracked in high school, and there was the college bound route, there was the business route, and then I think they put like the technical school type thing in a different group. And you were expected to go to college. You didn't, if that was the route you were on, if you didn't want to be, a secretary or whatever, then you went the college bound route. And, the idea that that may not be what's best for you at that time really wasn't even talked about.
Your talking point right there, you were expected. Instead of now, it's the expectations. And I think that's a lot of thing too, is parents have different expectations than what their kids want to do. And that's a good time. I'm hearing all, and the chat is like popping off with so many good
I
things
haven't
right
read
there too.
anything yet, so
Yeah.
I'm just talking. Well, I can't, well, you know, like while I'm talking here because it's hard for me to do, but yeah.
Good for you though, Jen. And the more you do it, like you guys, you probably see me now and you're like, oh, she can do any talking and whatever. When I first started doing this stuff, like I cannot tell you the anxiety I had, like interviewing speakers for my first summit. Oh my gosh. And if someone didn't show up, what did I do that was so terrible? I must have done something, like all of the noise in my head, you know, and now it's just like, oh, someone didn't show up. Okay, well, whatever. Oh, there's the cancellation. They just rescheduled. Okay, whatever. You know, it's just like, meh, whatever. But you get that muscle by doing things like, you know, starting small and speaking up in a little group and, you know, doing things that like, okay, it won't kill me if I and do that next thing. And so kudos to you, Jen, for doing it. And honestly, like the benefit to being able to speak out some of this stuff and just like talk through it, like here's what I'm kind of thinking and I wonder what people think about this. It can definitely be a positive. But yeah, kudos to you for speaking up. So thanks. So, and on that same kind of vein, I was wondering if you guys wanted to see what I've been cooking up. I've been thinking about doing a little bit of restructuring of some of my business offerings, some of which will affect you. And just looking at changing a few things, just trying to get a little more focused. You all know that I started, or maybe you don't know, but most of you know that I started a blog startup accelerator. We're on week 5, I think, of the first time through. It's an 8-week program, so it's going really, really good. Heard tons of positive feedback, and I think it solved a lot of the problem that those of you who are in the larger program with me may have experienced in terms of like, okay, I'm starting and other people are further ahead of me, and how does all of this land for me in terms of I'm at a different place than maybe some of the other people are. And so that's been really a good journey, and I've really appreciated kind of the outcome of that. But I've also kind of, you know, as you've probably been aware, I'm looking at changing some of the platform stuff related to the Blogging Boss program. And so as I've done that, I've kind of broken it into a 12-month program. So month 1 builds on month 2, builds on month 3. So you keep building and layering things in a way that feels okay without losing the progress that you've made in the previous months. So once you learn how to do batching, then you add another skill on top of batching, but you don't lose what you've already been working on. You keep that habit, you add another element or a refinement. And so that can be something that's really I think a good thing. So would you guys like kind of a sneak peek of what the 12 months look like? I'm seeing head nods. Okay. All right. So this is kind of the starting to get fleshed out version, and I would gladly take any suggestions, comments, or input. There we go. I'm assuming you can see my screen. So kind of the month 1. And so because we know that anyone who does not yet have a blog will be coming in with the opportunity to have been part of the Blog Startup Accelerator, so we don't have to be covering that in this platform. Month 1 starts with, okay, you've got generally basic knowledge for starting. Let's talk about keywords. How do we make use of keywords better? How do we, if you don't have knowledge of keywords, how do we understand keywords? And then AI writing, and how do we incorporate that in a way that feels comfortable to whatever degree you want to incorporate AI? How can we use it for keyword research? How can we use it for writing or editing or that kind of thing? Optimizing posts and gaining confidence, using tools that help with SEO, and using images appropriately, and how to figure out which images I'm okay with using and how to use them and that kind of thing. So that's all month 1. And so the videos won't be as much as of a 5 to 10 minute video, but more of like a 15 to 20 minute video, maybe 30 minutes sometimes, on each of the training. So each training is like one video. And then going forward, like month 2 is on batching, like why you'd want to batch, how to do it, how to come up with content ideas, a little bit on formatting and answering questions and how to incorporate that into your post. And then here comes in that, okay, we're going to publish 5 posts, get them scheduled and how to do that. And then from this point forward, then you have that as like, okay, that's the baseline. We're making that happen every month. So everything that we're doing is on the baseline of, okay, we're already knowing that we've got time committed to doing these 5 posts, but we're going to level up our skills just a little bit in another key area each month. And so the first area is looking at, first of all, learning about the different blog sections in a little more detail and adding in a little more Canva skills. So looking at creating your branded graphics in Canva. So maybe you already have your logo, but creating like the header for your emails or something like that. And again, like I said, tying in with each of these things, there'll be a task that when you finish that task, like writing a better headline, okay, so do these XYZ steps, and then when you've done that, the new platform actually will give you like an audible like, yay, you did it, good job, as you mark it off. So it gives you kind of some feedback and that sort of thing. So then the next step is the email and welcome, and getting your email set up, getting your welcome automation set up, figuring all of that part out, maybe adding, if you've already got a welcome email, adding a few more emails to that series, getting that worked out. And again, so that's in addition to, you're still continuing with your 5 posts and having your email, and that kind of stuff. And so then the freebie setup is another one. So walking through that whole process. Social media setup is another layer. Pinterest setup and starting to do Pinterest pinning. And so by the time we're done with this one, you're going to be starting to do pinning as part of your monthly steps, as well as doing your posting, affiliate marketing, low ticket product creation, working through bundles and how to start participating in those, because now you've got your low ticket product that you can offer. So all of it really layers nicely to build out the foundation for your blog for that first set of time. And then content repurposing, like you've got a good massive amount of stuff, close to 50 blog posts at this point. How do we start to repurpose those to maximize the impact? So I guess I would like to pause and just get feedback from you guys. Does this feel like it would be a good thing, a good resource, a good process to go through? And feel free to unmute and give comments, or if you prefer in the chat, whatever works.
I like it. It seems simpler.
Yeah.
Like, going through each one and then having one longer video rather than a few. Yeah. It just seems, it works with my brain a little better.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
like that.
you are
The
better
other
able to
thing-
set expectations. So people have a very clear understanding of what's going to happen. And so it's just the ability to be able to say, I know I'm going to be doing X next month. And there may be areas where people have more experience and they're comfortable with that. But then if this is the accelerator thing, meaning if this is right, people coming into this cold, it feels more comfortable and warm and fuzzy for them, other than, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? As opposed to people coming in at all different levels.
Yeah. Nope, absolutely. So this would be kind of the middle tier. And something I would probably call it something like Blog Boost Academy or something like that. And it would be literally first year kind of content. So after you've got your setup and building that foundation, I'm leaning towards doing it at around a one-time cost, with perhaps lifetime access to one coaching call a month, but not giving access to messenger chat. So having a Facebook group access as opposed to a messenger group access. And so this would be the middle tier, so not boss, but the middle tier. So you would all have access to this content, but other people would be able to join in, and they would be part of that once a month call. And then for my upper tier, which you guys are all, most of you are, some of you are Future Blogging Network, but for my upper tier, I'm looking at creating a more exclusive group where instead of meeting weekly, we would do twice a month one-on-one calls for about 30 minutes each, with each member, and then one group call with all of the upper tier members. So this is separate. So you would have a group call with the upper tier members, a group call with the middle tier members, and you'd have your two one-on-one calls as well during the span of the month, and then pairing that with some accountability calls and perhaps also doing some co-working. So what this does is, for those who are in currently, you know that it's a huge time commitment to be on all of our coaching calls, and I've recognized that some of you don't want to sit for so many hours and then like, well, now I've got to figure out how to find time for blogging in addition to sitting here, and not everything is related to where I'm at. And this, I think, will give you a lot more time back. And I think it's a really good move going forward. So just kind of wanted to give you a chance to give me your ideas on that.
I was going to say that, because I've got a month left here. So I was getting a little antsy about that. But at the same time, thinking that, well, not having the coaching calls, twice a week, plus the Liz call when I join, that it would free me up 4 hours a week, with the 8 to 5 job as well, that it takes up, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of chunk of time. So yeah, I mean, I love now knowing that there would still be access to at least a once a month, touch with everybody and what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So anyone else have thoughts?
As someone who did start kind of like being thrown into the deep end last year, I would have felt a lot more comfortable with this because it's step by step, know what's coming each month, and you go through one at a time, and knowing I don't have to worry about the other things that are like bundles when everybody else is talking, when I'm back and still trying, to get WordPress up and running. So, and I like lists and steps and, to see the progress. So I like that. I like the idea of how that is set up.
Yeah,
I agree with Jen. When I started, I felt like totally lost, and people are talking about like how many sessions they have and monetizing and all those things. And I'm just trying to figure out how I can get blog posts done,
Right. Yeah, I recognize that. And I wanted you guys to know I've heard you, I've heard comments that you guys have had. And so that this is definitely a reflection of the things that I know that you guys like, and also a reflection of the things that I know you guys have struggled with. And so I think that yeah, I really worked hard to try to make all of this work. As far as launching, for those of you who are already in the BOSS program, I kind of need to hear from you. Do you like this one-on-one model? Would you like to shift it sooner, or would you like to shift it later? That's part of the question, because you're on this journey with me, and I don't want to just like, do a major shift without input.
I like this idea.
Okay.
Because even though I was right at the very beginning, I got lost very quickly. I felt very left behind very quickly. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I agree with Jerry. Our brains just work a little differently, that's all.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm still trying to find out how mine does work.
And on the group call for the mid-level, mid-level call, there may be questions that go, you know, beginner versus advanced, but you know within the framework where that fits and where your spot is. So
Mhm.
you can get your question answered, but you can also respect that, oh, someone's asking about bundle. I'll get to that later. That's on my month, whatever. You know what I mean? So it takes the pressure off of trying to feel like, oh, I need to know about bundles too right now. So I think that having that framework is going to help. But yeah. So my idea on timeline for the mid-level one is that I anticipate getting content created so that's ready by maybe March or April. From the boss level, because you have access to recordings that you can look at, obviously not quite the same structurally. We're also going to have, you know, with all of the summit recordings that you guys will have access to, so you'll have some content you can dive into related to that. We could do the transition as quickly as you guys would like. But the main launching of the mid-level program is going to be shortly after the summit. So like March 1st probably is about when that would launch. So thoughts or feedback on that? Jody says, I'm excited. I like it. Good. Good. So, yeah, with these changes, maybe noodle on this and get feedback from a few people that aren't in here as far as timing and implementation, and we can connect back up on that at our next call. But anyway, and I know that not everyone is in the boss group already at this point, but that are here today. But I thank you for bearing with me and allowing me to kind of flesh this out just a little bit, because it is a pretty significant change from what we had been doing, but I really see a lot of upside to it. And it's kind of ironic because I've felt for a little while that, like, gosh, we all spend a lot of hours together, and are they maximizing the impact for you guys, or are there things we can do to make more of an impact for you? And as I kept doing interview session after interview session with speakers, it was like hammering home. So many of them talked about, you know, the maximizing the impact to your people and creating space for the things that need to happen and that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh my goodness, so many good points were brought up. So I actually got to have a couple of conversations after interviews with kind of fine-tuning this with those speakers. So it was kind of fun and interesting to do that. So you guys are going to love the sessions though. Like, they were such good interview sessions. Oh my gosh. Really great. And very actionable and such. So I'm really excited about the upcoming summit. So anyway, any other questions or thoughts or opinions, or how does this affect me, or what are, you know, whatever questions or thoughts you guys have, feel free to, I can stick around a little bit after if you want to chat about that, or if you want to message me privately, feel free. If you think this isn't a good fit or a good whatever, for whatever reason, let me know. I'd be happy to talk through how, what, when, where, whatever. So, but thank you guys for being here today, and really excited about where everything is going moving forward. And definitely I'm 100% behind you guys, and that's part of the reason that I'm doing all of these changes, is because I want to see you guys succeed. I want to see you be effective and be successful and do everything I can to help both cheerlead, support, direct, guide, and keep you moving forward. So thank you. And definitely keep me posted on your thoughts after you've had a little time to digest kind of what we talked about. It may take you a little time to think about, like, well, what about this or whatever. Just message me, messenger chat, or whatever works for you. And I'll be happy to talk further about it. So anyway, nothing set in stone as far as these changes. It's kind of still on the conceptual level, but I'm really liking the shifts, the changes, the ideas, and I'm also appreciating that I've heard pretty much positive things from you guys as far as what that looks like. So Pat says, thanks for your help and guidance. Appreciate that, Pat. So yeah, awesome. Alrighty, well, thank you all and have yourselves a great day. Like I said, I'm going to hang out here for a few more minutes for anyone who maybe wants to chat a little less. We'll turn off the recording a little less publicly. But if you have thoughts or comments, I would welcome them because honestly, I'm here for you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. If I didn't care so much about you, I wouldn't be here. But I really do want to help you guys to be effective and successful. So with that said, I'm going to turn off the recording, and anyone who wants to stay and chat, feel free.
Yep, I'm